Who are the Bohnsacks? For those who are subscribed to my channel, this is my first video on my own family anthology. I am collecting data and tracking the roots of my family so that I can communicate it in story and folklore to my children. But for those who may have come to this channel because they saw the name Bohnsack in the title and they clicked on it, to understand what I'm doing, you can go back and look at my video and introduction to family anthologies, and you can also see what the rest of the channel is about. So, in this video, I have a copy of a document here, Bohnsacks, a family study by Walter A. Bohnsack. This was given to my grandfather back in the 70s, I believe, and I don't think it's seen much of the light of day since then. And this goes over not only my own family lineage, but also what is known about a great many Bohnsacks who came to the United States in the early 1800s. Walter A. Bohnsack, who wrote this, is not even directly in my lineage. So I'm actually going to read this off the screen. So if you're a Bohnsack, I hope you enjoy, and I hope that some of the names in here are in your family tree, and I hope it's valuable to you. In 1838, some 700 Saxon Lutherans sailed from Bremen, Germany, in chartered ships for St. Louis, Missouri. They came by way of New Orleans and established a colony in Perry County in 1839 for the purposes of having religious freedom and better opportunities in the new country. The Bohnsacks came from the northern part of Germany, Braunschweig, and Hanover, now known as West Germany, as did the Saxons. It is believed that the Bohnsacks came over in the same manner and for the same purposes and stopped at Cape Girardeau, Missouri, in Cape County in 1846. There were 7 Bohnsacks: John, Frederick, Christian, Charles, August, William, and Christian. William moved to Advance, Missouri, while August, Charles, John, and Christian established residence near Dutchtown, Missouri. Christian and Frederick moved near Arbor, Missouri, in Cape County. Among them were 5 farmers, a blacksmith, and a baker. It was a custom of the Bohnsacks to name their children after their relatives. Up to and including the year 1860, there were 5 named Augusta, 4 named Caroline, 4 named Amelia, or Amelia with an A or an E, 3 named Johanna, 4 named Charles, and 4 named William. According to some of the records, there were 2 of the Bohnsacks named Christian, but there was a record that referred to the Christian Bohnsack that lived in Arbor community as Christa. We are sure they are all related, possibly all brothers. Many unusual things happened to the Bohnsacks. There were 4 sets of twins before 1860, and if Christian and John were twins, having been born in the same year, 1814, then there were 5. In 1840, Dutchtown, Missouri was the German township of Cape Girardeau County. It was so named because of the German immigrants who lived there. They would hold their town meetings on the hill just north of the town on Sunday afternoons. Dutchtown was once named Spencer. A railroad was being built in Dutchtown, Missouri. The timber was being cut from the swamp land and snaked out by oxen teams. This attracted their interest in the vicinity where the swamps met the hills. This information was secured from the county record, census record, church records, tombstones, and in conversations with people. There will be additional pages left in this book for relatives who want to continue with their own story. He also included a family tree. This is backwards on the screen, but these are all the names he just said of all the Bohnsacks that came over. Highlighted is my family lineage, and here in green is the author of this family history. So John Bohnsack and wife Amelia. We know very little of John Bohnsack. He was born in Braunschweig, Germany, and was about 38 years old in 1850. His wife, 1 year younger, was born in the same city. Up to 1850, they had 4 children, all girls, born in Germany, and 2 born in Germany and 2 born in Missouri. In 1860, he was no longer in Cape County. Christian Bohnsack and wife Amelia. He was born in 1814 in Braunschweig, Germany, and died December 5th, 1880. He was buried in the church cemetery of Zion Lutheran Church, 1.5 miles northeast of Dutchtown, Missouri. We have no record of his wife's death. She was born about 1816 in Hanover, Germany. They had 4 children, Mary, Hannah, Augusta, and Ernst. It was impossible to secure any information on Mary. Hannah and Augusta were twins. Hannah and Ernst died at an early age of 19. Augusta married Philip Rau. To this union were born 4 children, Louis Rau, Albert Rau, William Rau, and Miss Emma Rau Keller. Augusta Nee Bohnsack Rau was born September 29, 1850, and died July 8, 1926, at the age of 75 years, 9 months, and 7 days. Christian Bohnsack and his family belonged to the Zion Lutheran Church in 1865 when it was first organized. This year, 1965, it will celebrate its 100th anniversary. According to the church records, he and his family were very active members of their church. In addition to being active church members, he was a very progressive farmer. Christian Bohnsack and wife Caroline. So this is a different Christian, or potentially the Christa, I don't know. He was born 1819 in Braunschweig, Germany, died March 27th, 1892. He was buried in the Methodist Fairview Church Cemetery near Arbor, Missouri. His wife Caroline was born about 1820 in Germany. They had 6 children, 2 born in Germany, 4 born in Missouri. William and Henry were born in Germany. Augusta, August, Charles, John, and Mary were born in Missouri. We think that William was married to Sophie Bohnsack, who died May 19th, 1885, and was buried in the Methodist Fairview Church Cemetery. She was 49 years, 7 months, and 12 days old. Christian Bohnsack farmed in the Arbor community and was a very prosperous farmer, leaving a substantial estate when he died. Some of the Bohnsacks that lived in Advance, Marble Hill, and Whitewater are relatives of this family. Christian Bohnsack's son, August Charles, and his wife, Caroline Neumeyer, with family moved to Great Bend, Kansas in 1876. Frederick Bohnsack and wife Amelia. We know very little of Frederick Bohnsack. He was born about 1825 in Braunschweig, Germany. He was married to Amelia, who was born about 1835 in Hanover, Germany. He was a blacksmith. They had 2 children, both born in Missouri. He evidently left Cape Girardeau County before 1860. August F. Bohnsack Sr. and wife Caroline Weiler. He was born about 1820 in Braunschweig, Germany. The records are not legible. He died about 1858 and is buried in the German Evangelical Church Cemetery 1.5 miles north of Dutchtown, Missouri. His wife, born in Germany about 1824, she died about 1857 and was buried in the same cemetery as was her husband. They died at a very early age, leaving 4 orphan children, There are no grave markers now showing where they are buried. We were told by August W. Bohnsack Jr. that they were buried in that cemetery. The German Evangelical Church was first a log church built in the winter of 1850 through 1851. It was replaced with the present brick building, which was dedicated on May 15th, 1887. The church and graveyard are well kept by the present trustees. This church was the only church in the locality until Zion Lutheran Church was organized in 1865, located 1.5 miles northeast of Dutchtown, Missouri. August Bohnsack and his wife owned and operated a farm in Dutchtown community. There were 4 children born to them and 25 grandchildren. The estate of Caroline Bohnsack was administered in the probate court August term 1858 in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Ernst Mance was the administrator for both August Bohnsack and his wife Caroline. Caroline Bohnsack and husband Frederick Lukeman. So these are the children of the previous people discussed. Caroline, the orphans. Caroline was the oldest child. She was an orphan at about 8 years old. She lived with Frederick Johns, a shoemaker. She married Frederick Lukeman. To this union were born 10 children. Frederick Lukeman was a cigar maker and operated a tavern in the old Opera House on the corner of Broadway and Lorimer Street in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. They lived in a gray brick house in the 900 block on Broadway, where the Medical Art Buildings is now located. Later, they moved to Puxico, Missouri, where they operated a hotel. William H. Bohnsack and wife Methelda F. William was the second oldest child and became an orphan at about 6 years age. He also lived with Frederick Johns. He married Methelda Frederick. To this union was born 4 daughters. William was a blacksmith. He probably learned his trade from his uncle Frederick Bohnsack. He operated a blacksmith shop in the 600 block on Broadway, where the Social Security building is now located in Cape Girardeau. They lived at 113 North Frederick Street. In his later years, he was a custodian of the Masonic Lodge Hall. August Bohnsack and wife Elise. August and Augusta Bohnsack were twins. They became orphans when they were 1 year old. August lived with Ernst Mance, a tailor. Fisher was the name of his first wife. To this union was born 1 son, Waldemar. His second marriage was to Elise Roskamp. Born to this union were 5 children. August Bohnsack was a tinner. He learned his trade in Cape Girardeau when he was very young. They moved to Marble Hill, Missouri, and he operated a tin shop there. Later, they moved to Kennett, Missouri, where he was associated with the Riggs hardware store. Then they moved back to Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and he worked for the Frisco Railway until he retired. They lived on the northeast corner of Good Hope and Ellis Streets. August Bohnsack died just 4 months after his wife's death, and they were buried in the New Lorimer Cemetery. Augusta Bohnsack and husband Otto Frederick. Augusta lived with John Robjar, a cooper. She married Otto Frederick. Born to this union were 5 daughters. He operated a jewelry store on Independence Street, where the F.W. Woolworth building is now located in Cape Girardeau. They lived on the southwest corner of Good Hope and Lorimer Streets. Otto Frederick and William Bohnsack's wife, Methelda, were brother and sister, as were William Bohnsack and Augusta, brother and sister. Charles Bohnsack and wife Johanna. He was born, so we're going back to the previous generation. He was born in Braunschweig, Germany in 1825. His wife born in Germany February 22nd, 1830, and died November 15th, 1857. She was buried in Evangelical Church Cemetery 1.5 miles northeast of Dutchtown, Missouri. She died at a very early age. Born to them was one child, Charles Bohnsack, who married Augusta Brace. Born to this union was one child. William Bohnsack Sr. and wife Henrietta. And this is the start of my own personal family line. This would be my great grandfather. He was born in Germany in 1829 and died in 1914. He was single when he came to this country. He was buried in the old Lorimer Cemetery in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. His wife, Henrietta Christine, was born November 28th, 1834. She died September 21, 1885, and was buried in the same cemetery as was her husband. He moved to Advance, Missouri, where the children were born. William Bohnsack, a baker, born to this union, was 5 children. Later, he moved back to Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and lived in the 400 block of Themis Street. Themis Street? Themis Street. William H. Bohnsack Jr. and wife Julia Landsman. He was born in Advance, Missouri, July 28, 1862. He died January 26, 1941, and was buried in the mausoleum in the New Lorimer Cemetery in Cape Girardeau. His wife was Julia Landsman, born August 19, 1856, and died April 4, 1909, buried in the mausoleum with her husband. Born to this union were 5 children, 1 son and 4 daughters. William Bohnsack was a wonderful person, working with his father, who was a baker. At the age of 11, he would sell pies to the boat crew on the Mississippi River. He would visit the relatives of Dutchtown, Missouri in summer and work with them hoeing corn. Later, he established a clothing store on Main Street in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Associated with him was son Maurice. He operated this clothing store for many years, made many friends, and was active in civic affairs. And that is all that Walter A. Bohnsack wrote about back in the 60s. I hope that if you came across this video looking for information on Bohnsacks you might be related to, I hope this was helpful, and I would be very much welcome to share these resources that I have and start a conversation if you have any more information that you would like to share with me. I will put an email in the description of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.